Assassinations and ethnic purgings precipitated World Wars I and II. Are we seeing the same signs prior to World War III? Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the car in which he and his wife were assassinated on June 28, 1914. 5 years later, on the same day, the Treaty of Versailles was signed. On this date, Serbs celebrated the Battle of Kosovo, in which a Serb assassinated a sultan. January 1932. Japan's Emperor Hirohito survived an assassination attempt. January 33. Hitler was appointed Chancellor in Germany. December 33. Romanian Prime Minister Ian Duca was assassinated. The Romanian Iron Guard leader Codreanu was assassinated in 1938, and the next year Prime Minister Calinescu was assassinated. June 1934. Hitler had over 1,000 German opponents murdered. July 34. Engelbert Dollfuss, Chancellor of Austria, was assassinated by Nazi agents. October 34. France Foreign Minister Barthou and King Alexander of Yugoslavia were assassinated. July of 36. José Calvo Sotelo was killed, which began the Spanish Civil War. November 9, 1938. German diplomat Ernst von Rath was killed by a Jew at the German embassy in Paris, which was the fuse for the Kristallnacht pogrom against the Jews. It was that one murder of an unknown German diplomat in Paris that was politicized to justify the murder of 100 Jews, the incarceration of 20,000 others, and the destruction of over 1,000 synagogues. The 17-year-old shooter had just received a postcard from his sister. Their Polish family had been expelled from Germany and all their possessions confiscated. That did not justify his action of murder. But that murder did not justify the action of mass murder and destruction at the direction of the German government in allowing riots and retaliation. Yes, some governments allow violent riots to push their agendas forward. But take another look at all the worldwide assassinations taking place in the years prior to World War II, as those who were opposed to Hitler's agenda were taken out of the way. One assassination even started the war in Spain, where Hitler could try out his new weapons. But first, some clarification of terms. The terms left-wing and right-wing came from the French Parliament's seating arrangement. Those politicians seated on the right wanted to preserve the monarchy, the aristocracy, and the church. Those seated on the left wanted to change to a republic of equals under a secular government. The French Revolution of 1789 to 1799 was full of assassinations and mass murder. Back to Spain. In 1933, the government secularized all education, seizing all Catholic schools and banning monks and nuns from teaching. The government did not protect Catholic individuals and buildings from violent riots, and some Catholics fought back, which caused escalation. Later that year, politician José Calvo Costello led the right in Parliament, protesting against the escalating anti-religious terror and expropriations. Spain's government established an assault guard to quell the violence, but most of them were loyal to the left. In 1936, by a slim margin, the left won the national election and began planning a civil war. In July, they sent the assault guard to Costello's home with a fake warrant, and a known leftist bodyguard shot and killed him. The government feigned an investigation which never reached conclusions, and the war broke out in 4 days. According to Wikipedia, Salam Taseer was arrested 16 times and incarcerated once for 6 months for his views. He became governor of the large Punjab province in 2008. When Asia Bibi answered her Muslim co-workers that she was a Christian, she was given the death sentence for violating blasphemy laws. Salam Taseer was under enormous pressure for standing up for her. Then his own bodyguard decided Taseer was an infidel for helping her and peppered him with bullets. Rafic Hariri was Prime Minister of Lebanon from October 31, 1992 to 1998. Rafic and 21 others in his motorcade were assassinated by an explosion, possibly a suicide bomber, on February 14, 2005. This was followed by several other assassinations of those opposed to the presence of Syrian military in their country. The country has remained divided. In March 2009, the UN created a special tribunal for Lebanon to investigate the assassination and make indictments, which would come out in March 2011. Early leaks reported that they had found evidence linking Hezbollah to the murder. In response, in October 2010, Hezbollah conducted a drill simulating a takeover of Lebanon. If the UN reported the indictments to Lebanon's government, who then failed to make arrests, then the UN would have created a multinational force to go in and make the arrests. But since Hezbollah leaders walked out, there is no longer any government in Lebanon for the UN to report to. Countries east of Israel and the Euphrates River are Afghanistan, Shiite Iran, and Shiite southeastern Iraq. The headwaters are in Turkey. Turkey showed in 2008 and 2009 that they could dry up the river in Iraq. The city of Najaf is located on the river. Najaf is a theological center of Shia learning where Muqtada al-Sadr has a great following. Al-Sadr's mother was Lebanese, and his father was an Iraqi Ayatollah who was assassinated in 1980. His cousin was involved in Lebanese politics. And the sixth angel poured out his vial on the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Interesting that a week before the collapse of Lebanon, the U.S. helped return Muqtada al-Sadr from Iran to Iraq. Then on January 8th, al-Sadr gave a speech to his home crowd in Najaf in which he called the USA, Israel, and the UK common enemies of Iraq. And they chanted back, "Yes, yes for Muqtada, yes, yes for the leader," referring to the fact that Muqtada al-Sadr is the leader of the Mahdi army. Yes, the Mahdi that Ahmadinejad has been talking to and about, who will rid the world of infidels during a period of chaos and then establish a worldwide caliphate. But I think before that happens, bin Laden and his Al-Qaeda will cause much more misery in the world. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles which go forth to the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, or Har Megiddo for Mount Megiddo, and the valley below it, which has been a major battlefield for millennia. The stage is being set. Will the UN, which is dominated by Muslim countries, send an army into Lebanon to try to exact justice on those who assassinated Rafic Hariri? Will Iran-backed Hezbollah take over Lebanon as they practiced last year, and then invade Israel? Such a war may be the prelude to the Battle of Armageddon. Saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, "Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. If I have interpreted this verse correctly to be the duration of the war of Armageddon, then based upon other biblical interpretations, I expect it will be between these dates. Discern the signs of the times.